On today's episode, we take a look at why Han shot first. And what is up, guys? Welcome to Welcome to Watch. I'm Matt. Thank you so much for joining us. And today, we are going to be taking a look at the character of Han Solo. Now, this weekend, the story Solo, a Star Wars story, comes out, and I will be reviewing that actually this weekend. But first, we need to look at the introduction, the first time that we see Han Solo. And an interesting thing has happened with Han Solo. See, in the original films, the first time that we meet him is in this bar, and it's supposed to be like the lowest of the scummiest people, a hive of scum and villainy, if you would. And this is where we first meet Han Solo. And we know he's a smuggler, we know he's a pilot, and we know he likes money. We also find out that he's in some trouble financially, and that this job with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker could pay off some debts that he owes. We then run into a bounty hunter named Greedo, who we find is looking for Han Solo because he has such a huge bounty on his head from Jabba the Hutt, someone that he owes money to because apparently a smuggling job went wrong. So that's kind of the groundwork across the board for Han Solo. But what happened is in all the re-releases, when George Lucas started to re-release all these films with all these special editions and added special features, one big thing stuck out to a lot of people. And that is, at the very end of this scene, Han shoots Greedo to get out of this situation. In the original movie, that's all it was. There was a big puff of smoke, Greedo falls over, and it is the end of the scene. He even throws some money down on the table just to kind of clean up the mess. But in the newer editions, there was a CGI blast that was added to make it look like Greedo shot at Han either at the same time or first, and then Han quickly dodges it and then shoots back in retaliation. And so now we're going to take a look at why on earth would they do that. Like we've talked about before, when it comes to Star Wars, is George Lucas had a bigger vision for this film, maybe even making several films, but it was a risk. This was not a guaranteed success. Actually, a lot of people thought it was going to be a royal failure. But when the success of the movies came out and they started to see how much people love these characters and love this movie, it changed a lot about the films. One of them being Han Solo in general. Han Solo was supposed to be kind of this low-life, sleazy guy, but kind of with a heart of gold. We see that at the end of A New Hope. But what happens now is that Han Solo is a character that is loved by millions upon millions of people. And having him in cold blood shoot someone is incredibly important to the story, but maybe not so important to the brand. See, when Han Solo shot Greedo without any hesitation, what it shows us is that he's willing to get the job done, that he's willing to do whatever it takes to preserve his life, preserve his ship, and preserve his way of living. Even if that means shooting somebody that he knows, even if they don't get along, in cold blood so that he can escape this situation. But the problem lies in once we see him in Empire and Return of the Jedi, we kind of get attached to him, and we don't want to think of our hero as someone who would do that. But it's a lot more justifiable if he's thinking, I'm about to be shot, and we actually physically see that, and then he has to move out of the way, and then it's in retaliation. It makes it a little bit more justifiable, it makes it a little bit more easy to explain away when we want our characters to be a little bit more clean. But I do think it's vitally important that Han did shoot first. It shows that he is willing to take risks, that he is living on the edge, and it shows us what a dangerous job and what a dangerous profession that he is in, that his life is always on the line, and that's why he's on the run. I think that it even makes it more powerful when we look at later films, such as Empire Strikes Back, when he's willing to leave his friends because he has to pay off this debt. It shows the heights of this debt, knowing that he is literally running for his life because of this debt. And if he's just shooting in retaliation, then he's just trying to preserve his own life. But this would show how great of a debt it is and how far away from Jabba and his guys he wants to get. So let Han Solo be a scoundrel. Let him be a guy who will shoot first and ask questions later, because that's the kind of Han Solo that we want in the first place. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. Make sure that you tune back in on Friday, a little bit shorter of an episode. We are actually, me and my wife and my beautiful baby girl are headed back home for Memorial Day, and so we are actually going to see Solo Thursday night with some friends back in Michigan. So super excited about that. But make sure that you tune back in on Friday. I will have my full review there, and then we will have a spoiler-filled review on Monday. So make sure that you come back on Friday just to get my overall thoughts of what I thought of Solo, a Star Wars story, and we'll talk a little bit more about Han Solo. So hopefully you can make it back on Friday. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to this video. It truly does help us when you do that. Like literally every time that you guys either share this or like or comment on it, it almost doubles our views. So thank you so much. We truly do appreciate when you guys do this. Well, that's it for today's episode. I am Matt. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on Friday.